Hey Ghonche, and welcome everyone to a new episode of our Product and Cake podcast, Season 3. Everything you need to know to become a super successful product manager. Luckily, we have one here in the virtual recording studio with me, as always. Ghonche, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing, Paul?
Yeah, sweating like crazy.
Oh my
Luckily, we can sit in front of the computer without moving at all. That helps a little bit. And if the temperature continues like that, I will have an cold, um, cold water below my desk to put my feet into. I can really recommend.
Ice
Very
bucket.
refreshing. Ice bucket,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, same. And but talking about not moving at all because it's super warm today in Berlin. I have a checking question.
Nice. Please
So
shoot it.
recently it was the Olympics, and I want to know if you wanted to, like, you have 4 years now until 2028, and you can select any sport. It doesn't matter if you're good at that sport, but right now you can select any sport that you can join Olympics 2028 with. Which sport would you choose?
Wow. That is a very, very good question. I mean, okay, let's talk about the Olympics with normal people, right? So
Yeah.
randomly chosen people, and then they can choose a kind of sport, and then
Imagine
they can
you
start
just get
compete.
a wild card from the Olympics that, oh my god, you're such a cool person, great podcast. Because of your podcast, we are allowing you to compete in one of the sports. Probably we're not gonna win. We have 4 years to train if you want to take that into account. But
Okay, and the
which sports are you interested in?
yeah, so I have two on my short list then. One would be boxing because I did
Okay.
that quite a while
Oh,
ago. So
interesting. I didn't know.
yeah, it's a long time ago actually, but at least I know how it feels. But maybe I would be more interested in speed climbing.
Oh,
Speed
that's
climbing is really crazy. They need 6 seconds to climb up this 25-meter wall,
yeah.
and it's very short, intense. It looks like they are flying, and would not have any chance at all. But it looks
That's
interesting.
true. That's
What
true.
would be
Yeah.
what would be yours?
I'm really interested in long jump for
Oh,
no apparent reason. I cannot jump. I cannot jump far. I cannot jump high, but I think it's really fun the way I can see it in TV. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. You run and then you jump. Yeah, it seems fun. And it seems pretty they make it look so easy
yeah.
on TV that I'm like, maybe I'm not gonna be that horrible. Probably I'm gonna be, but yeah.
I just recently read about the idea to have Olympics of normal people, where they just choose, let's say, 100 people from each nation, and then all of them can choose sport, and then they need to start competing tomorrow, right?
Oh
And
my god.
so you have just normal people. Because if I would join Olympics, you have some generated videos, right, where you see normal people running and then Olympic athletes running,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
yeah, it's just it would not be funny to
I think
to
it is
try to
really
compete.
funny, but
Okay, different definitions of fun maybe here in the virtual recording studio, but so be it. You have also a lot of different perspectives and definitions of what a product is, and therefore
yeah, that's
you
true.
maybe want to have a product manager. And our
Ooh.
question for today is it a thing? Do you really need a product manager? What is this role important? So let's
Hmm.
imagine you find a new company and you can hire the first 5 people. Should you have a product manager within them? Is that
Yes.
role significant, or is that just a new marketing buzzword bingo for people who want to do something else, are bored of coding, and now they need to have another job, another role description, role title.
Yeah, I think yes and no. So I do consider the product management role quite crucial for some companies and not necessarily as important in some other situations. First of all, it really depends on the size of the company. Like if you're a three people company, maybe product management as a separate role is not needed. If you, I don't know, are a design, like if your company has a designer and a developer and someone that takes care of business and the three of you can manage everything very well, there's no need for a product manager to be added in this mix. I think the three of you can handle it very well. um, the other aspect is the kind of company, but also in another episode we are going to touch upon on different types of product managers. So we have very design driven product managers, we have very business savvy product managers, we have extremely tech product managers, um, or technical product managers that usually come from a background of tech or being a developer and do have a better and deeper understanding of the technical aspects of topics. So if your product is, for example, is completely technical, it's your product only is working with APIs, it has no interface, there is no consumer facing side, you only work with um, B2B companies, and it is a very, the interface is only to other tech solutions and it has less research, less consumer research needed here. Maybe the role of the product manager is not going to be as crucial versus a company that is has a very big and important consumer facing part, is dealing with human interactions. um, but in general, like these are some very basic things. Like I would want to say why the role of the product manager is important, and I can divide it into seven aspects, and you can see based on these seven aspects if you need the product manager as is and the role of a product manager, or no, someone else in the company or in your team can take care of those items, or these seven aspects are divided differently and there is no need. So these are the this is also just from my perspective, and Paul, please jump in anytime that you see I'm saying something that is missing or lacking or you don't agree with. So the first part is vision. Yeah, sorry,
Just
go on.
1 second before you jump into this list, because I want
Yes.
to add one thing about the early days of each startup,
Hmm.
where you don't necessarily have this dedicated person that is fulfilling the role of a product manager. You need someone, and most likely this happens somehow in between. You need to have someone who's really taking care about the product, right? And who
Yeah.
is loving the problem of the users that have to be fixed with that specific startup product. And I would don't go deeper into that thing. But what I really want to vote for is to make that explicit, right? Be it
Hmm.
the business guy or the engineer, whoever, make explicit who is thinking about this strategic product approach, and make sure that this one person is not overwhelmed with work, and also that this person can easily slice the needs for the product manager, the requirements for this product management role. So you know exactly when you start to look for a product manager who is fulfilling all the things you will tell us in
Hmm.
a moment, what additional responsibilities from your individual situation is needed. So
Yeah.
as earlier you make it explicit, as easier it will become on the long run.
Yeah, that's completely true. So for a lot of these things that I'm going to mention, there are going to be other people in the company that I implicitly at some point took this responsibility, but the benefit and value here is to make it explicit that this person actually is owning this aspect. And yeah, so the first thing, in my opinion, that is a product management role is crucial for in the company is vision and strategy, to look a little bit beyond the next couple of weeks, to look beyond the next few customers that are going to be your users, but articulate a long-term vision and strategy for the product. Where do you want to take this item that you have built? And then the product manager needs to ensure that this is aligned with the overall business objective, addresses the consumer need, addresses the revenue goals that are set for the company, and at the same time align it with something like a roadmap planning to create and maintain a product roadmap, prioritizing features and improvements based on the market demands, the business goals, etc. So that's number one. Number two is bringing the customer centricity. So putting the customer in the front and center, making sure that you understand the needs of the customer. And again, this can be in bigger companies. This part can be taken by a market research team or a user research team or user experience team. But in the early days of a company that is not yet so big to have all of these different roles as well, this is the main responsibility of a product manager as well. And also, even if in those bigger companies that there are people mainly focused on the consumer experience and the bring the consumer need into the company, a product manager needs to ensure that that info is addressed and is made into action and is actionable. So to gather insights, to create a competitive analysis, etc., is all part of this aspect of the customer focus. And then we see that the result of that into the user experience and how the needs are addressed, and to make sure that the functionality is balancing the ease of use of the product. Then the third part is cross functional leadership. And leadership here, I don't mean management, because, yes, true, in the product manager role, we are talking about management, but we are not managing people, we are managing a product. And this cross functional leadership does not mean that you are the people manager or you're the line manager of different people in the cross functional group, but it is the leadership and to some extent thought leadership, that you bring people along with you, you motivate people, you coordinate between teams, and you facilitate decision making, and to act as a little bit of a glue between the different departments, to be the true translator between business needs into a tech requirement, and back from tech requirement into a product marketing segment on your newsletter, for example. And the fourth item is execution and delivery. So here the product manager takes the role of um, making project management to some extent, which we talked also in the previous episodes about, that makes sure that the execution happens, make sure that the item is delivered at the right time to the right audience with the right quality. So quality assurance and project management here in this aspect go hand in hand. And one of the main aspects for product managers is to make sure that the resources are allocated properly and the teams are working on the right topic. The number five for me is market and business impact, to look into how this product is going to drive revenue growth and how the company or the product is positioned in the market. And the product managers can do this by identifying right features, the pricing, the market strategies, and how the product is going to be competitive in comparison to the other product. And with that, they will be driving revenue growth. Um, Number six is innovation, but it is not that product manager is solely responsible for being innovative and bringing innovative ideas, but it is rather encouraging innovation inside the team. So building this field that people can come together and bring ideas to facilitate this aspect of innovation, to allow the tech team, to allow the designer to go beyond borders and um, constantly looking ahead to find ways to improve what they're working on. But it's not the product manager itself or themselves coming up with the innovative ideas, but rather facilitating the innovation to happen or encouraging innovation to happen. And last but not least is risk management. So all of this that I said from 1 to 6 were things that the product managers are responsible in doing. But also when we are prioritizing things, it is important to look at the things that are not going to be done. So we prioritize 3 items. This means that the fourth item cannot be done. And this is the responsibility again of product manager to look at the fourth item. What does it mean if we don't do this? What are the risks of not doing this? What are the risks of doing number 1, 2, 3? Are they gonna be any challenges with marketing tree? Are there gonna be any challenges with user drop? And how can you ensure the long-term success of the product? So, in short, all of these 7 aspects are part of the roles and responsibilities of the product manager, but also the reason that it is so important to have all of this in one person or in a single role to combine it all together, because innovation can be a different person, like risk management can be a different person, like market and business impact can be a different person, but having this mixture of different skills and different aspects into just one person makes this facilitation and that glue that I talked about much simpler. So this is
Yeah,
from my perspective. What do you think, Paul?
I really share that perspective, of course. I just want to add one aspect. And if you think about that, adding that role to your team, then you are buying basically time that someone
Mhm.
can think about all of these aspects, right?
Yeah,
As you said, no one is doing all of that all the time for in the lowest detail, but you can create a role that gives capacity to get an overview and then decide actively, okay, let's go into risk management because market is drastically changing at the moment for a limited period of time, and then maybe hop over to the next item on the list. But having someone who's doing that full time is really beneficial and is
yeah,
really important. And I think it is very important to make sure that this person actually is not overworked, because your list is long, right? And exhausting and has a lot of different aspects. And we always need to be careful that the product management person is able to have time to think. This is what I'm
exactly.
really missing a lot of times in a lot of teams, that everyone is so busy that no one have time to think about the risks, for example, or
Yeah.
whatever. So don't forget the time and the wise prioritization in that one.
Yeah, exactly. And I recently broke my finger, so I was out of work for a week and I watched a new series. I mean, it was new for me. Probably everyone has already watched it. It's called The Bear, and it is about a kitchen and a restaurant. And the whole time I was watching this series, I couldn't stop thinking that, oh my God, the role of this person is so similar to a product manager who just gets into a messy company. It's a messy kitchen and it's like a mess going around. Um, they're not working in the best way they could, even though everyone in that kitchen is extremely talented, but nothing is working in an optimal way. And then this guy joins and he tries to manage his things first. It adds more concern and everything becomes more of a mess, but then it gets much, much, much better. It's a really cool series. I encourage everyone to watch it if you haven't already. But the role of that person, or the role of a chef, master chef, or like a head chef, or in the series they were calling it CDC, chef de cuisine, I think, um, is it's very similar to a product manager. So basically, the reason that you need a head chef in a kitchen, it's gonna be the same reason that you would want a product manager in your company. It's not a must. There are some restaurants that don't have that kind of format and they work, but there are some that definitely need it.
Right. Thank you very much for this overview and also for the recommendation. Share with us your feedback and your definition of your product role and what is missing on that list and how do you prioritize it. And don't forget to subscribe, because all of the topics more or less will be touched in the next episodes, right? Because this season is about everything you need to know to become a successful chef de cuisine, to become a successful product manager.
Same, same. It's product and cake. We are gonna talk about cake as well.
Right. So have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.